Hello, Wendy.
Hello, Jane.
Welcome to Love Letters, Life, and Other Conversations.
Hello, Jane.
Hi, Wendy. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm great, and I am really looking forward to part 3 of our special Valentine's. I think we'd call it an experiment, really, wouldn't we?
I think so.
Just to recap, this was in the New York Times back in 2015, and it is in reference to Mandy Catron's modern love essay, To Fall in Love with Anyone Do This. And of course, she is referring to a study by the psychologist Arthur Aaron, who explores whether intimacy and deeper connection between two strangers can be accelerated by having them ask each other a specific series of personal questions. 36 questions in all, and we have done this in a 3-part series. This is part 3. The whole idea is that through this mutual vulnerability, we foster, and I would say, not just with a stranger, I would say, come on, gang, on Valentine's Day, it doesn't matter whether it's a romantic partner or a really, really close friend, grab that person and foster a deeper, more connected closeness.
Because I love that idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Open a bottle of wine and have a bit of fun. They say, the psychologists that researched this and developed this, says that one key pattern associated with the development of a close relationship among peers, so he's not just saying romantic sexual partners, is sustained, escalating, reciprocal, personal self-disclosure. And I, for one, totally agree with that.
I do
because
too.
Allowing oneself to be vulnerable with another person, although it can be difficult, even exceedingly difficult,
Sure.
it really does foster deeper connection.
It does. And in this particular exercise that we are inviting other people to do as well, being asked a question that the other person is also going to be asked and answered, it gives you this kind of a level playing field that you're not going to be, just out there by yourself, vulnerable. It's mutual, and there's some safety there.
Exactly. Would you like to go first, Madame, and fire the first question at me?
Okay. Make 3 true we statements each. For instance, we are both in this room feeling.
Okay. We are both loving this whole podcast journey.
I agree.
We both were as hysterically excited the very first day that we met in person.
Yes.
We both understand and appreciate the vulnerability that we both bring to our relationship.
Those are beautiful. Thank you. To that, I would add, we both are full of good ideas.
Yay.
And we both celebrate doing what delights us. And we both are eager to invite others to join us in this journey of goodness.
Absolutely. Number 26.
Okay.
Complete sentence. I wish I had someone with whom I could share.
all this champagne is what came to my mind, but I have so many people I can share all this champagne with. That's a deep question because I feel very connected. I feel very connected to friends. I feel very connected to this community that I live in and that I foster. So I wish I had someone with whom I could share all the dreams in my heart without my perception of their judgment.
Your perception of their judgment. Okay, well, I'm going to take you up on that one because I think you might already have a couple of people that you do that with.
I do.
I wish I had someone with whom I could share, and I'm going to apologize in advance, okay?
Okay.
Because I know that this is something that you have no interest in and you don't agree with. I wish I had someone with whom I could share a psychic session.
I think that's great. And you're right. My mother would never allow me to do that.
We've discussed it. I've never done it,
Mhm.
but I'd like to do it with someone.
Yeah, that's
I would
awesome.
like-
For so many reasons too. I mean, not to hop onto your answer, but there's this accountability as well as awe when you find out things that feel aligned from a complete stranger.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, we've talked about, there's a member of my book club who certainly doesn't call herself a psychic, but with everything I've read about her, I would suggest the things she said to me just off the cuff would suggest to me that I just think it would be the most amazing experience. And that's, you know, that was a hard one. I wish I had
hard one.
I could share, because I feel like I have people that I can share most things with.
I felt the same.
So that is a tough one. So I really dug.
Yeah, same. I feel the same way. Okay, we didn't write the questions, so we're allowed to react to them in any way that feels authentic to us. So, okay, number 27. If you were going to become a close friend with your partner, so if you were going to be my friend, please share what would be important for her to know.
Well, we're not strangers.
We're not.
So, and we're already good friends. But, and you probably already know a few of these things. If you say you're going to do something, Wendy, I expect that you are going to do it. I also understand that sometimes people can't do things, but my expectation is that you would let me know if you couldn't do something that you said you were going to do. What else? I think it would be important that you know that I cry a lot, most days. Oh, anyway, I won't keep going with that thread because that comes a bit further on. I think that's probably the most important thing that I would like you to know, which I think you already know about me. And I think we have a mutual understanding about that.
I would completely agree with that. And I'm sorry?
We talk at least once a week. This week it's a lot more because we're trying to do this 3-part Valentine's special.
Yes.
But there has never been a time when, if one of us hasn't been able to fulfill what we said we would do, even if it's just half an hour before we said that we would talk, and one of us can't, we let the other one know.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So I guess that's probably it for me.
Okay.
Just that mutual respect that we come to this friendship honoring each other's boundaries.
Perfect. Yes, that's beautifully said. I think it's important for you to know that I also cry. And it's not because I'm upset, it's just because it's important to me. And I also think it's important for you to know that my verbal appreciation of and toward you is genuine. And it may feel inappropriately celebratory, but I say what I mean. And if I think someone is fabulous, I tell them.
Well, Wendy, I know that about you, and you know that about me.
Yes.
And one of my favorite lines when I'm getting to know someone is, I'm well aware that I'm too much.
Right?
And if I cross a line, please just pull me up.
Right. Right. Oh, that reminds me, there's another thing you should know.
Oh, good.
Please know that I'm always going to assume that you had the best intentions.
Good. I'm glad about that, because I was going to have a chat to you after this recording to say, that conversation we had yesterday where I, was pretty blunt
Yes,
about a couple of things. My heart is pure and my intentions are good.
I see that.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you already know that without me having to tell you. But I think you should know that. Oh, fun.
People emailing in saying, now what was it that you discussed with Wendy yesterday? Sorry, gang.
You want
That's
to know.
private. Very good.
Yes,
See, these are getting trickier.
they
They
are.
were easy. They were easy in set 1. They were not so difficult in set 2, but these are getting trickier.
They are.
Okay.
We're going to do our best.
Tell your partner what you like about them. Be very honest this time, saying things that you might not say to someone you've just met.
Okay. What do I like about you?
Oh, my goodness.
I like,
Appreciation Society.
right, it's true, which is fun, right? You should be
Mhm.
able to say beautiful things about the beautiful people that you care about, and they should fall out of your mouth with ease. And if it is hard for you to say something nice about somebody that you want to have a relationship with, just practice. Practice makes permanent. That's what Amelia's teacher says. And
Love that. Practice makes permanent. That's what that. I was on my way back from the prefecture this morning, listening to Atomic Habits. I think chapter 15 and 16 I was listening to, and they were talking about the practice. And he said habit stacking works because of practice.
Right.
Also, when you're practicing, just do it for 2 minutes so that, it doesn't come naturally to you and really puts you in a hard place when you're telling someone how you feel about them. Keep it to 2 minutes for the first time that you do it, or maybe 2 seconds.
Right. Just do it. Okay, so
practice.
Right. Okay, so what do I like about you? Be very honest this time. For all the other times I wasn't being honest, I don't know. Okay, so this is what one thing that I really like and appreciate about you. I like the way you celebrate the domestic arts. So you make a party out of laundry and out of cleaning your house and out of preparing for people to come to it. And I do too. So I like that you do that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that about you too. But anyway, it's all about me for the moment.
It is all about you.
Well, thank you very much, Wendy. You know what I absolutely adore about you? I love your spirituality and your connection to your God and your church. And I absolutely love the fact that, although I had a very religious upbringing, that I describe myself as spiritual rather than religious. And there's no judgment about that.
You're absolutely right.
Adore that about you.
Thank you. My job is not to judge. My job is to love.
Yeah. Your
And
turn.
I didn't judge you anyway. So I got enough. Okay, so let's see. Number 29.
Mm.
Share with your partner an embarrassing moment in your life.
Embarrassing moment in my life. You know, I could say about 6 years ago, I left the Boulangerie and I was walking across the road and I tripped and I fell flat on my face and my skirt was up around my shoulders, and that was so embarrassing and no one came to help me, and I went home with a great big scrape down my. I was actually horrified and distressed and embarrassed. But you know, that's a cop out. I think the most embarrassing moment of my life would be a moment when I was younger where I told someone how I felt about them, and that person told me they didn't feel the same way. And I think I have never felt such excruciating pain and embarrassment as that.
Oh, thank you for that. And thank you for the prelude to your answer, because I feel the same way. I could tell you something that was just silly and it's a funny story. It was mortifying for me, but it would be a cop out. And your vulnerability has brought something that is, I would say, like top 3 embarrassing moment of my life, and I can't think of the other 2. So when I was dating my husband,
Yeah.
he asked me a question about if I knew of a famous architect. And for some reason, I lied. I said,
Good.
yes, I knew who this person was, and I didn't.
Mhm.
And the thing that is so mortifying is the person is famous, not like I'm not embarrassed that I didn't know who it was. I'm embarrassed because I hear his name so often, and every time it reminds me that I told a lie. And it's
But that's the lesson. That's
yes,
the lesson, don't you think?
yes, and it was stupid. Like, why can't I say, no, I don't know who that is? And then he would have this opportunity to introduce me to a fabulous famous person that every
Yeah.
time I heard his name, I would remember him
Yeah.
teaching me something. Instead, I
But
think,
don't you think that since that time, since that embarrassing moment, because I've heard you say, oh no, tell me about that.
yep,
And I do too.
yes,
I don't really care if someone thinks, oh, she hasn't got particularly good Latin knowledge, or
right.
she hasn't got particularly good Italian Renaissance painting knowledge. Teach me. That's
Please.
how we connect.
That's right.
Teach me.
That's right.
I'm sure there's things I can teach you. There are things you can teach me.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the beginning of this, there's
I
all the
know.
things,
I
and it
know.
was 25 years ago, and so many things. I'm a different person, but I would say that it is at least twice a month that I recall that situation.
Really?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, that's how much of a lesson it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Ugh, all right. Okay, people, don't ever use this against us. We're inviting
No.
you in.
Absolutely not.
Okay, it's your turn to ask. Number 30.
It's my turn to ask, is it?
Yes.
When did you last cry in front of another person? And also, when did you last cry by yourself?
I cry all the time. So I probably cried yesterday. I cry, that is it's not if I'm upset, it's because something's important to me. So it's why I really enjoy the written word. Like, I can write you a birthday card that you should just turn into your bio, because I am gushing all the goodness, and it's coming.
Wendy,
Yes.
you left me a thank you card on the bedside table after you visited here. And it wasn't until about 3 days later, because I didn't go into your room and strip the bed straight away. So I'm not the world's greatest housekeeper. But there was this beautiful card there. And I should use it as my bio. I think I could get any job in the world with that card.
Well, you deserve any job in the world because that was all true. But sometimes if I'm speaking the words, I get verklempt, and then I know that can make the other person uncomfortable. So I might rein it in a little bit or not. It depends. But it's not a manipulation tool at all. It's just how I am. And it used to bother me, and now I embrace it.
I know. And I think the universe brought us together last year, because I'm just going to answer the crying question, because what I was about to say actually is better off with the next question. When did I last cry in front of another person or by myself? By myself was about 45 minutes ago. And I watched a movie called The First Daughter. Katie Holmes is the first daughter of the President of the United States.
Oh.
It's romantic. Well, it's not really a comedy. It's a romantic drama. It's just cute and lovely. And, you know, I had my bowl of broccoli soup because I'm trying to be good, curled up here on my couch, watching a romantic movie on a Wednesday afternoon before I do the recording of the podcast. I shed a tear or two. I had quite a ball.
I love it. I'm reminded now, I cried by myself last night. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but that I asked, I don't want to say her name because she'll talk, but Alexa. I asked her to play my favorite song from high school, which is No One Is to Blame by Howard Jones. And I was so excited that it was available, and she played it, and I turned it up and I sang it, and I'm going to cry right now. I cried.
We need to do your favorite song from high school as a springboard for one of our conversations.
We absolutely do, because it's
I don't know the song. I don't know the song.
Wait till you hear it. I mean, it's like you're gonna I loved it listening. I haven't listened to that song in, I don't know, 15 years. And not that I was in high school 15 years ago, but I probably haven't listened to that song in a long time. And the lyrics they hit me in my present self in a really impactful way, as evidenced by my
my God.
right now.
Well, I'm listening to it at the minute I get off this call with you. Okay. When did I cry the last time in front of another person? That was yesterday with a friend on a phone call. Like you, I cry.
Yep.
I've been crying since Jesus had the measles. And my earliest childhood memories are of, you know, beautiful advertisements on the television. There was one in particular that was Labrador puppies that ran into the bathroom and took the sorbent toilet paper and ran it all through the house. And I thought that was the most magical, beautiful family experience that could ever happen. And I would cry. You know, Mum used to tease me and Dad used to tease me. They'd say, if I was the one to go to the video shop with my dad to pick a movie, we'd come back and Dad would look at Mum and they'd both roll their eyes and say, oh, it'll be white picket fences and Labrador puppies.
Right. You know what you want. It's good.
That's me. I am the biggest romantic you will ever meet.
Outside of myself, I believe that to be so.
Probably.
Oh, I love it.
Are you asking the next question or am I?
Yes. Number 31. Tell your partner something that you like about them already.
Well, Wendy Harrop, I love the fact that you are a crier. The very first time we met, you cried in my cooking class.
Yes, I did.
I believe with all my heart that the universe brought you to me, because when I started the cooking classes, which was around this time last year, well, it wasn't the cooking class, actually.
Mastering the art.
It was mastering the art. And I think we started in about a week's time, because I'm actually having a little bit of a, oh my gosh, I'm remembering what was going on with myself this time last year at the moment. And I believe that the universe brought you to me because I needed someone who was as big a sook as I was.
I could not agree more.
I mean, COVID turned our worlds upside down, and we went through 2020. And then in February 21, I started doing Mastering the Art of Hospitality, and you were in the very first group. You cried that very first lesson, that first live that we did.
Yes.
And you wrote me the most beautiful things after the first. So on the Monday, you received the hour-long lesson, pre-taped, and the additional notes and tasks for the week. And you wrote me the most beautiful words. And I really needed them at the time. You know, I'm not really answering, tell your partner something that you like about them already, because I've already known you for a year. So I'm just ad-libbing here a little bit.
Well, I would say that I could not agree more that the universe brought us together. I met the future version of myself when I met you.
Oh.
And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for your friendship, for your vulnerability, for your invitation to be in your world. So thank you.
And for those of you who can't hear it, I'm sure they can, but I'll just tell you, because I'm watching Wendy, she's had to take her glasses off, and she's now got a tissue or a napkin, and she's doing her eyes and her nose, and her poor little nose has gone like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
That's it.
And she's just had a big cry. And that I celebrate about you. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me be my present self.
Thank you for letting me be my present self. But
you
know what? We are anyway, Wendy. And we come up against people who we are too much for. And then we have our people. We each have people that we're not too much for, or that just accept us the way that we are.
Exactly.
So,
absolutely. It's a gift.
Yeah. Okay. Is it your turn to ask the question?
It is your turn to ask the question.
What, if anything, is too serious to be joked about?
Oh, I am sensitive about things. And you would never joke about these things because we have this in common. I don't like I think I figured it out because I just took a posture that says I know what I'm about to say. I don't like being discounted for my contribution, even though I don't have a regular job.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't have a regular job either. And I totally agree.
And I don't think it's funny when anyone says that I don't have a real job. That's not funny to me.
No, that I can completely understand. Okay.
If you were to die this evening with no opportunity to communicate with anyone, what would you most regret not having told someone? And why haven't you told them yet?
Because of who I am, and because I am too much at times, I don't like regrets. And so if there's something brewing in my mind, I blurt it out, sometimes to the detriment of myself. And when I say I blurt it out, but I don't not tell people things, which I think you do know, because we've had talks about this. We've had long drives through rural France talking about this sort of stuff.
Yes, we have.
So is there something at the moment? No. You know, there was a time in 2020 where I wasn't feeling well, and I wondered whether I had COVID. And I wrote a letter and I put it in the back of my diary, and I told the person that the letter was to, that there was a letter for them and that they should ask Pete for the letter in the back of my Filofax. I mean, that's how onto it I am.
Right. No, that's beautiful.
I really, really do not want to die with a whole lot of regret. And
Right.
I don't think
That's
I
beautiful.
don't think I will, Wendy. I don't know where this came from or why this is the way, why I'm the way I am. But that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. That's why I'd like to have a session with a psychic.
Right.
Because if there is any truth in, we actually have a number of lives and we're reincarnated over and over and over again until we learn our lessons and we fix what needs to be fixed.
Right.
And we stand up and we speak our truth and we keep meeting the people that have been in past lives. I don't know whether any of this is true. I've told you, I'm a spiritual cherry picker. I love parts of Buddhism. I would call myself a Christian cherry picker, but I also love parts of Judaism, parts of Islam, parts of Hindu. I mean, I'm a cherry picker.
Right.
I don't mind doing it.
Right.
And I'm sure it's because all these different religions and faiths and spiritualities in the world have so many intriguing beliefs. And if you take everything that you like, what an incredible world it is.
Beautiful. I love that so much.
But you'll still see me in the most conventional church or at the top of Mont Saint Michel, and I will sit through that mass time and time and time again, because the light coming through the cathedral and the nuns and the monks lying on the sandstone floors singing is something to behold.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
I don't know that I have any regrets at the moment.
I feel similarly. I'm a proponent of using your words.
Yeah.
I, in 99% of cases, am all about having courageous conversations.
Yeah.
There are a couple of people in my life that I feel very vulnerable having a courageous conversation with, and I'm working through that. It's taking a bit of time, but it's also becoming more important to me to be courageous, even though it's uncomfortable, than the importance of being comfortable. But overall, I would say I have no regrets.
Yeah, I love that. I remember someone saying to me, and I may have said this before, but I think it's almost become a mantra for me. How did you make the decision to come to France? The fear of France and all that entailed, the language, no friends, isolation, children in French schools, blah, 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 blah. I mean, there was a list a mile long.
Sure. The
fear of that was far outweighed by the fear of regret. The scale balanced.
Right.
Fear of regret was sky high.
Yeah.
And the thought of going through life thinking, why the hell didn't we do that?
Yeah.
Far outweighed any of the fears on the doing it side.
Right. That's beautiful.
So, okay, your turn. Is it your turn or mine?
I think it's your turn to ask.
Okay. Your house containing everything you own catches fire. After saving your loved ones and pets, you have time to safely make a final dash to save one other item. What would it be and why?
So I live in a house that was built in 1785. It is made of wood, and I live in New England in a small town that has a volunteer fire department, and there are no fire extinguishers. So I have thought about this question before, and it's fascinating because I've thought of, oh, the practical things. Let me just like, could I just have my handbag? Because it's such a pain when you lose your wallet and you have to cancel, like
Are you waiting
information.
for cards to be reissued?
Right. All of it. Like you just like, would the information be better? Would it be Amelia's original documents? It's such an interesting question. And I think it actually, at this point, there is not one thing that I could think of that is more important than getting my people out of here.
Yeah. So for me, my people are out there on the front
Right.
park. My pets, of which I don't have any at the moment,
Right.
which I did. Oh, well, I have my chickens.
Yes.
And I have time to safely make it in for a final dash. I know what it would be.
Oh, good.
In my walk-in robe, I have a Ziploc bag with my mother's favorite cashmere cardigan in there. And it has been, Mum died in 2007, 26th of May, 2007. I think I've told this story before, but I just took her favorite cardigan, and in that Ziploc bag is her favorite cardigan, her favorite scarf, and this, my mother wore really big rings, and it is a aquamarine.
Ooh, pretty.
Aquamarine ring, which I would never wear. My fingers are I'm too little for, I'm too short. My fingers are too little for her rings, but I keep it in the Ziploc bag with the other two things. And only now, about once every, maybe once a year, maybe once every 18 months, I just unzip that Ziploc bag just enough to pop my nostril in, and I can still smell her.
That's the most beautiful thing ever. I sound muffled because my hands are over my mouth. That's beautiful.
I can still smell her. Funnily enough, the day that my dad died, and he died here, he had a brain tumor, and we had about 10 days before he died. And the day that he died, I was coming from the basement kitchen up to the main living room floor. And I was halfway up the spiral staircase in the tower. And I was absolutely surrounded by, do you know the smell of Christian Dior poison? Poison?
Yes.
I can't stand it. Pete can't stand it. That was my mother's perfume. But it was so strong, it completely surrounded me. And Craven A filter cigarettes. My mother was a big smoker.
Okay.
And I was completely engulfed by this smell. And I got to the landing, and Dad was in the corner room. You know, we had nurses here and hospital bed and all that sort of thing. And he took my hand and he said, darling, I'm dying. And I said, Mum's here. And he looked at me and I said, Dad, I have just walked up from the basement kitchen and the staircase reeks of Craven A filter cigarette and Christian Dior poison. And he said, oh, she is here. And I said, it's okay. It's okay. She's here. She's come. And I believe with all my heart that she did come for him that day.
I believe you.
And it's funny though, and the reason I'm telling you that bit is because we associate the cigarettes and the poison, Christian Dior poison, with my mum. But the smell that comes out of the bag, which is her cashmere cardigan and her scarf and her ring, is not cigarettes and is not poison. It's her essence. It's her.
That is so gorgeous. We didn't move it to Massachusetts, but I had a piece of furniture from my grandparents. My grandmother, that's who really taught me how. My mom loved to entertain. My grandmother loved to entertain. My mother was more about the people and my grandmother was more about the food. So I feel like I got both of those things from both
Mhm.
of those women. And when my grandmother passed, I got their dining room set that had this hutch with some doors at the bottom. And when you opened the doors, it smelled like their house. So I would do what you did. Like I would just open it and I would smell and then I would shut it. And I would do that before a party to just like get in the zone of my grandmother so
Mhm.
that I could be her at this party.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny, isn't it, Wendy? Because I mean, Mum died in 2007 and it's now 2022. So we are talking 15 years and her essence is still in that bag.
It's beautiful. Wow. That's
So
gorgeous.
you
Thank
and
you.
I have talked about that before. So there's something that we both have experienced that's come out of this.
I'm so excited. I'm falling in love with you again. Okay, number
Like
35.
the next question at all. I
I
don't
know.
like the next question at all.
Well, thankfully, it's not the last question, so
Hmm.
we'll be able to move on. Okay, number 35. Of all the people in your family, whose death would you find most disturbing and why?
Hmm. I have to say this collectively,
Right.
any of my children, and I don't actually know how I would go on, but I have a very close friend who lost her son
Mm.
3 years ago. And, you know, for the first 2.5 years, she could hardly, she did everything she could just to breathe, just get out of bed every morning. And just last summer, I just saw a glimmer of the person that was before she lost her son. And I've spoken to my kids about it. I just don't know whether I just don't know how I would go on. I really don't. I know my head tells me that I would have to because I have 3 other children
Right.
and I have 2 beautiful little grandchildren. But my heart, even if I think about it, just tells me that I wouldn't go on. And I know I wouldn't go on the way I am. I know that I would be completely changed and damaged and never myself ever again. I would have to change everything, Wendy.
Right.
I couldn't do what I'm doing if anything like that happened to me. I lost my dog once. He disappeared from here one afternoon, and the next day I picked up a French table group from Paris, and I cried all the way back in the car, and I told them that Peppy was missing. Everyone was lovely, but they must have thought I was a complete nutcase. And then I got back here and, you know, the first thing that we used to do with the French table group was everyone came into the gilded sitting room where you've been,
Yes.
and we would have champagne and a high tea. I was so hysterical the night before that Pete had spent all day while I was in Paris picking up my group, going from vet to vet and eventually finding a vet. We have like 6 veterinarian clinics in Borgashad, which is the next village. He got to the 6th vet. And of course, you know, Peppy was chipped. And so there was a microchip. And he said, he's in Ruto. He's in Ruto Pound. And Pete went and got him. And I had been in the sitting room having champagne with everyone for about 10 minutes, having chicken sandwiches and cake and, you know,
Right.
but I told them how sad I was on the way back from Paris. And they're probably all thinking, holy jolly, we've paid all this money to come and spend with a mad woman and
Better pull it together, lady.
crying over her mush. And all of a sudden, Peppy ran into the sitting room. Pete had got him. And I was on the floor, imagine, on the
I
floor, howling with this dog in my arms, howling with everyone just staring at me. So when I think of that moment where
Right.
I thought it was Peppy,
Right. Yeah, you'll be undone.
right?
Yeah.
That's a really confronting question.
Yeah.
Really confronting.
Well, my answer is obviously the same. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just don't, it's not right to outlive your children.
No,
And
it's not
if Amelia,
supposed to be. It's not the circle of life.
no, I can't imagine. She's the most amazing human I've ever met in my entire life. And I'm just not even available to have a life without her now.
I know. And I cannot wait because you and Amelia are going to be here on the 1st of March.
Yes, we are. We're so excited. It's going to be amazing. She keeps talking about when we're at Jane's Castle, are we going to do this? We said yes. The answer is yes. Whatever delights you delights me. So yes. Okay,
Cannot
our
wait.
last question, number 36. Okay, share a personal problem and ask your partner's advice on how she might handle it. Also, ask your partner to reflect back to you how you seem to be feeling about the problem you have chosen. Oh, okay.
Personal problem. I've got a bit of a problem with this one because we're not unknown to one another.
Right.
And we have shared personal problems. You have been a great ear, and you have also given advice on how you would handle the problem. Ask your partner to reflect back to you how you seem to be feeling about the problem you have chosen. Well, maybe we can just do that part of it.
Okay.
How you think.
Because you know my problem also.
Yes. So can you reflect back to me how you seem to be feeling about the problem that I have chosen?
I think that you are growing in grace every day. I think that you are showing great amounts of attention and grace. You are showing grace to yourself and to the other players in a way that is only going to set you up for more goodness. You're not rushing your process. You're not rushing the other player's process. And I feel like you are giving yourself permission to navigate it in a way that is honoring to everybody, not just the way you would prefer it go.
Well, I really appreciate that. It's so funny. I came across a French expression this morning. I won't read the French expression. It's on my stories today. The English translation is, truth is more valuable if it takes you a few years to find it.
Oh, that's good.
La vérité bien, que une passe quelle année son la trouver. It's by Jules Renard. Truth more valuable if it takes a few years to find it.
I love that.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that feedback. So do you want me to tackle from the same perspective?
Yes, please.
So you're not going to share a personal problem with me because you've already done that.
Yes.
And ask your partner's advice on how he or she might handle it. And yes, I have also given you that sort of feedback.
Yes, graciously.
I don't think we've told each other how to handle anything. We've just listened to one another and acknowledged each other's stories, right?
Yep. And believed that the answer was inside of us.
Yeah. So ask your partner to reflect back to you how you seem to be feeling about the problem you have chosen. Well, Wendy Harham,
speak freely.
I know that your courageousness and your ability to navigate your desires and your potential has grown immeasurably, but you do it carefully, also with grace, also with the pure intent to protect all the players.
Thank you for that. I received that. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, my friend. Holy bajoli. They were some tough ones.
That was, yeah, we're deep. We
I
are
just have to add
officially
one
in love.
more thing. Gosh, this is going to be a long podcast, this one.
Yes.
But the last thing that you're supposed to do as part of this experiment, we don't need to do this. We do this regularly, is, okay, everyone out there, if you're going to take these 36 questions and have them with a significant other, I don't care if it's your husband, your brother, your sister, your best friend, one of your children, I don't think it needs to be a romantic thing. It doesn't have to lead to romance or sex, right?
Correct.
Wendy and I have just done it, and we've got no intention
That's
of
right.
any romance or sex.
Regardless of geography.
That's right. What they say you do as the final thing with number 36, after number 36, is you have to stare into each other's eyes for 4 minutes.
Oh my.
It's a well-documented part of the experiment, and the suggested duration ranges from 2 to 4 minutes. I always thought it was 30 minutes. I actually had a discussion with a friend about this and said, do you reckon we could do it? And she said, I reckon we could give it a go. Our author of the 36 questions that lead to love, in her modern love essay, To Fall in Love with Anyone, Do This. She is absolutely unequivocally determined in her suggestion and recommendation. She says, quote, 2 minutes is just enough to be terrified. 4 minutes really goes somewhere.
That's beautiful. And you have the opportunity to reflect on the experience while you are holding eye contact with the person that you had the experience with.
Absolutely.
And you were vulnerable, they were vulnerable, and nobody's moving. Oh, no wonder you're going to fall in love. We should do it when I get there.
Northern Hemisphere. Build a fire, open a bottle of wine, and sit with someone. I don't care who it is. Connection is beautiful. Southern Hemisphere. Get on a beach, open a bottle of champagne at sunset or sunrise, whatever you want to do, and or go to a restaurant, or make a lovely dinner at home, or make your best friend a cupcake and take it around and do the 36 questions. Don't you think?
Oh, I love it. And I would love for...
I think the world would be a better place if people actually did this.
Well, our world is a better place because we did it. So.
And we actually found out a few things today about each other, didn't we?
You did. I want to hear who does it. Tag us, send us a private message, do whatever delights you in a way that shares with us that you did this. But I loved even though I told you that it's my favorite game to say things that we appreciate about each other, I loved that was not just one of the questions. I think we actually did it 3 separate times during the 36 questions. And I feel like that's just the little hug that your heart needs to keep going. Like, it's just a reminder that it's safe.
Couldn't agree more.
So good.
I loved this, Wendy. I will be in Paris on Monday, and I think I might do something romantic with myself.
Do you know that in 2013, I was stranded in Paris on Valentine's Day?
Really?
I was. I had gone with my friend Jeff on his very first house hunting mission in the Charente-Maritime. And as we came back, he was living in the States as well. He was living in Tennessee and I was in Massachusetts. So we were both flying out of Paris on 2 different flights, and there was a storm here in Massachusetts. So my flight was canceled. So Keith made all the arrangements for me to take a flight on the 15th, but Jeff's flight left the morning or the night of the 13th or something. So I was in Paris on Valentine's Day all by myself.
And what did you do?
Well, I'm a wedding planner and I love love. So I bought a split of champagne. I had my jambon beurre sandwich, my gorgeous red crushed velvet coat that I love, that I wear in February. And I sat on a bench at the Eiffel Tower and waited to see somebody propose.
Oh, cute.
So fun. And I didn't see anybody, but I had the best time because I was looking for love.
Okay, well, I have book club at the Letitia on Monday morning. And then I have a meeting with Parisian Postcards, Lena,
right.
and in order to get from St. Lazare over to the Letitia, I cross over the Lock Bridge.
Beautiful.
So I think I will do a little live from the Bridge of Love, where everyone puts their lock, their padlocks.
Yes,
I
perfect.
was on there on Monday and see if I can find someone that is proposing or popping their poor padlock of unrequited love onto the bridge.
I think that if you're looking for love, you always find it.
Yeah. Or it finds you
That's right.
eventually.
Yes, I have adored this conversation. Thank you so much.
Me
And
too. What an experience.
Yes.
I have
Happy
been
Valentine's
dying
Day.
to do those 36 questions for 2 years.
Oh.
I came across them 2 years ago, at the start of 2020. And I have wanted to do that for such a long time. And so thank you, my friend. I loved it.
My great pleasure. Happy Valentine's Day, my friend.
Happy Valentine's Day to you as well. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
We have loved this conversation and sharing this love letter with you, and we would like to invite you to send us your love letters. Visit the link in the show notes to send us your letters and to join our email list. See you next week.